My name's Lillian Wright. I live in Canyon City, Colorado, and for 27 years I've had the answer to obesity and good health. I'm 82 years old, I'm in good health, and I lost a lot of weight 27 years ago, and I've never gained it back. So that's what I wanted to talk about. The reason I'm doing this is because I was hoping in the last 27 years somebody would have discovered this, but nobody has discovered it. There's people, many people now who are obese, and it seems to be a big problem today. When I was a child, there wasn't really a problem with it. So I have found the answer, and I found it through a doctor in Las Vegas, Nevada, 27 years ago. So I'm here to tell you about it, just in case there's anybody out there that's wanting help, because in a small town here, I can't reach very many people, but now we have social media. I'm able to do this, and I'm able to tell people about what I found out. I was fat by the time I was 9. And my mother took me to a doctor. They put me on a strict diet, and I lost the weight. Of course, there was no supplements, so I'm sure it wasn't good for my health. But I did lose the weight. And then when I found out that I couldn't keep from gaining it back, I became anorexic. So I had quite a problem when I was a child with obesity. And in those days, they made fun of you because there wasn't that many obese people. And I think it must be something to do with the food. I don't know, but that is the answer that I found. So when I was, I kept my weight off from the time I was about 15 until I had my children at 20 years old. And then I gradually gained it all back, and I was fat for years till I was 53 years old. I have written 2 books, which one of them I mail ordered, the other one I used in my healthy diet club that I had for a year or 2. But in this small town, there's just not that many people, and it's too hard to reach people. So finally, when I was living in Nevada, my mother was sick, and I took her to this alternative doctor who was an MD, and he was treating people for illnesses with this plan. He was finding out what people were sensitive to, the foods they were sensitive to, and he was taking them off of those foods, and they were getting well. I asked him about it. I said, what about obesity? And he said, oh, this would solve the food addiction problem, but he said, I don't have time to treat these people. So he said, but if you do get this out, you'll help a lot of people. So that's what I've been trying to do for years, but I did write 2 books. But as a small person that nobody knows, it's kind of hard to get things out, especially without spending a lot of money, which I don't have. I mean, I've got a couple of businesses I'm running here, but it takes thousands of dollars. But now that we have YouTube and we have DVDs we can make, I figure I'm going to give one last shot to tell you people what I found out. What I found out was eating disorders are not eating disorders. They're food addiction, and it's an addiction just like alcoholism, just like any other addiction. But with food, you can't, how do you know what to abstain from? So the plan is, there are 5 foods that people, I have found over the years that obese people cannot eat. And those 5 foods can be replaced with other foods so that they don't get hungry and they don't get deprived, because you know yourself, if you've gone on a diet, you last about 3 days and then you don't care if you're fat anymore because you're so hungry and deprived that you eat. So that's why diets don't work. Sometimes people manage to lose, but it's few and far between, and then they always gain it back. And now they're operating on people. That's supposed to be the solution. I have had many people come to me who have had the surgery to lose weight, and they've gained it back, and they want help. So that's not the solution either, but the doctors are making a lot of money, and that's the only solution the doctors have found. I don't fault them. It's like, what are we going to do about all this obesity? Well, this is the plan. When people go off of the foods they're sensitive to, meaning this doctor has a whole dissertation on it in his book that he gives his patients. And what happens is people eat foods that they're sensitive to, and then what happens is they don't burn it. And you know, food is fuel for the body. And so if you're not burning it, what are you doing with it? You're storing it. And so if a person cannot burn the food they're eating, they store it as fat, and they get no energy. So the body says, go get some more food because I have no energy. So it becomes a vicious cycle, and people continue to eat these foods, get no nutrition out of it, get no energy out of it, and continue to get fatter and fatter. So this is the problem. So all a person has to do is go off these foods and replace them with other foods that they can have, and they have power then. You know, in addiction books it says that lack of power is our dilemma. If you don't have power over what you're eating, then how are you ever going to win? Nobody has ever beat an addiction by using the food, the things that they're addicted to. They've never ever succeeded. You cannot, an alcoholic can't drink and get sober. A cigarette addict cannot smoke and stop smoking. One cigarette, they're off again. One drink and they're off again. It's the same thing with food. One food that you're sensitive to creates up the craving in the body, and then they're off again. They have no power over what they eat. So when they go on this plan, they have power. And then after a few weeks, after their body's cleansed out, I tell them, eat whatever you want, except just don't eat those foods. And then they can then have power and go on a diet and lose weight. So this is what I've been trying to tell people for years, and it works. The substitutions are simply, like for instance, if you can't eat wheat, you can eat spelt, you can eat rice. And what is really nice is now they have food you can buy at the store that are made out of these things. When I started, I had to make everything from scratch. So now it's even easier. So you substitute. It doesn't mean you have to be deprived. It doesn't mean you can never have grain again. It doesn't mean you can never have the foods that you like. And you can't tell the difference between spelt flour and wheat flour. But I can digest spelt flour, but I can't digest wheat flour. So this I have a plan that I can give anybody that wants to email me. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm just trying to get this word out, because this is not something that you make money off of. It's like AA doesn't make any money. And so I just want people to find out about this, the people that want it. Not everybody wants it, but the people who want it, I want them to know about this. So that's why that I'm putting this out on the social media. I'm going to send DVDs to people who might help other people. For instance, celebrities, those type of people who might be interested in putting it out. And then I feel that my job is done. I can't help the whole world, and I can't make people want it, but I can make it available, and that's what I'm trying to do. People ask me, what about exercise? Exercise is great. It's great for the body, but a food addict can exercise enough, can eat enough food to compensate for exercise. So exercise does not work for losing weight, because if you're a food addict, you can compensate for that by eating food, enough food. So that doesn't work for weight loss, but it's very good for you. People ask me about restaurants. I can go to any restaurant, fast food restaurant, any restaurant in the world, and I can pick and choose and find food that I can have. I haven't had these foods I'm sensitive to for 27 years. I have power over what I eat. I never gain a pound, and I feel great, and I'm in great health because of it. The recipes, people say, well, what about my recipe book? You can take any recipe and you can convert it. And in place of this, use that. In place of something else, use something else. any recipe can be converted so that I can have it. And they say, well, what about when you go to birthday parties and there's birthday cake and all this and you can't eat it? It's just like, it means nothing to me because I know what it will do to me. But at holidays, I can bake cakes, I can bake pies. I have a pecan pie that is better than a regular pecan pie, that I can use maple syrup and honey that I can have. And I can make any dessert, anything I want, and use the substitutions and never be deprived. So I know if I go to a birthday party that has a cake, I know I can go home and have my own cake later. So I don't really care because I know that it will probably be 3 weeks before I ever get that out of my system. So that's kind of, there really isn't anything that you can ask me that I can't take care of. And that means that you will succeed if you do this. The maintenance also is another problem. What do people do when they go on diets? Even if they succeed, when they get done, they go back to the food that they've always eaten. And then what happens? They gain it back and they don't understand why. They try so hard to maintain. If you use this plan and you say, you see, you're going to stay off these foods for the rest of your life. And that sounds ominous, but it isn't, because you're never deprived. You can have the other foods that taste just as good. And you say, well, that sounds like a lot of work. It's not a lot of work once you get used to it. It's just have it in the house, you just get used to it. You pick and choose, you go out, there's bars you can buy that are legal. There's all kinds of things in the store you can buy that are legal. There is no reason to say, I can't do this. So that's why I'm making this video, is to get it out on social media. I want to send it to people, to doctors or people that might be interested. Whenever I go to the doctor, I take my little booklet with me, and I let them know that's the reason that I'm healthy and the reason that I'm still thin. So this has been an ongoing thing for me, and this is my last hurrah for trying to get people to understand or know about this, because nobody knows about this. I've scoured the bookstores, I've scoured TV, I've done a lot of research, and I've found nothing like this anywhere. So if you would like to know more about this, click on the link in the description and you will receive the booklet free of charge.
Let's start off with my name. My name is Renee. Hi, everybody. I have a story to tell. When I first met Miss Lillian, I had been, I was in a wheelchair, and I had been bedbound for almost 7 years. My health was not good at all. And even after I got here, I put on more weight than where I was at when she and I met. By the time she got a hold of me with her diet, I was about 365 pounds. And that was 2 years ago, October of 2014. And it's now October of 2016. And I have lost 170 pounds so far. I'm out of the wheelchair. I could do a tap dance for you, but I'm not going to. My health has significantly improved. And I'm forever thankful for her doing this and getting me started on this.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sandy Ashlock. I'm a certified health coach and a certified psychology of eating coach. I'm also certified to teach water and land aerobics. I met Lillian about a year ago, and she brought up her book. I took a look at it, and I truly believe in this process. This book more or less shows you to listen to your body, to understand your body, and then you will no longer have any weight issues. We all have foods that we're sensitive to and allergic to, and this diet basically eliminates most of the major allergens in everyone's body. I totally endorse this book, and I look forward to her continued success.
All right.
Hi, my name is Mark Morrison. I'm a certified nutrition consultant, and I am here talking about Miss Lillian Wright and her book and her weight program that she has. I've known Lillian for about 16 years. I have the utmost respect for her. We have collaborated on many occasions on different things to help each other, and her program works. If a person is dedicated to make it work, it does work. And there's nothing in there that's harmful to the person, only beneficial. So the side effects of the program are great health, and an extra side effect would be weight loss. But the health issue is the part that Lillian works on the most, and that's what I applaud her on, is to get the organs working the way they're supposed to work. Then the body will balance itself. And we just get rid of some bad habits, bring in some good habits. So no matter what it is that we get rid of, there's 3 things that are better to take its place. We just have to get used to what's better than what we had before. So this is just reprogramming the system, making the body much healthier, and I applaud Lillian 100% in her efforts.